This channel is made possible by viewers like you. My viewers, subscribers, and patrons greatly help to keep this channel going. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all of you. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any uploads. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you'll get access to what I'm working on, previews of upcoming content, and even early videos, along with other tier options for those that are interested. Thank you, and now on to the video. So I just started playing Unicorn Overlord, and I really just don't have enough time to play all of these stellar RPGs coming out. I have said it before, but Japanese studios and other Asian studios seem to just get it when it comes to providing the fun and that high entertainment value. Where the West is in a bit of an odd place, with many games being concerned about hitting certain checkboxes to appeal to different groups, or others going very far into the pretentious direction. With games like, say, Yakuza and Overlord, we have games that earn our time and just want to entertain us. Sure, they tell amazing stories as well, and usually do not talk down to the player, but rather explore interesting situations, environments, and characters through an engaging means where the fun comes first. I just started Unicorn Overlord, and it's really making me want to drop everything else that I'm doing and covering and just play this one game. My first reaction when I saw Unicorn was how wonderful, distinct, and inviting the art style is. You have many companies trying to go for the fancy and most detailed graphics, even pushing what we see with motion capture and other impressive pieces of tech. But something like this in Unicorn, where it honestly looks like I'm playing something that was just done by a painter, is just really awesome. You don't see stuff like this. Now, while I play a lot of games, and that does not mean that I know a lot about the industry as well, at first glance I thought the game reminded me back to a gem on the PS3 and Vita called Dragon's Crown. It was a beat-em-up RPG with a similar look, and after a bit of research, the company that made Unicorn made Dragon, along with a bunch of other titles that I've never played before. I sunk a bunch of time into Dragons when it came out. It was an easy game to enjoy through solo play or with friends as well. I remember that even people within the game's media were getting angry at this title because of the costume designs, especially for the ladies, as they could be pretty revealing and certain parts of them were rather large. This kind of exaggeration honestly works really well within anime and video games. And come on, what true gamer doesn't want a bit of fan service? It's even found here within Unicorn Overlord. It's one of those things that reminded me of Dragon's Crown. I think all of this is a good example of a company that, while they may not have the most realistic looking graphics, the style and how the style is done is what really makes it better and separate itself from its contemporaries. Case in point, we like what we like, and it's something that naturally stays with us. And for me, I really like this developer's art style. I'd say we need more games doing something like this, but I would prefer someone else be inspired and do something of their own. Either way, Unicorn Overlord has great visuals. So when I saw a bit of this game through a trailer, at first glance I'm like, oh, this kinda looks like Fire Emblem. I think I'm gonna like this one. When I actually sat down to play it, where there might be some high-level similarities between the two games, they are very different beasts that happen to share the same genre. When I actually got into playing this one, I found that Unicorn Overlord had something all its own going on to share with the player to match its striking visuals. For one, just starting out, I really like how this title provides a lot of options to the player, how they want to tackle encounters. This was through the various means a player can organize their fighting force for the many battles ahead. Yeah, you do need to win the battle, keep an eye on your time and other objectives, but this is kind of all up to you. You need to figure out how to use what you have to manage and react to the enemies on the battlefield. Something else I really like is how the introduction does a good job of providing the player with a set of tutorials without it ever feeling like a chore to get through. There's plenty of talking bits at the start. The story needs to be set up and provide some background to all the fighting that will be taking place. But the way it is done here, I felt like I was invested right away. Part of that might be because you are just thrown right into it. There's a hostile takeover going on, a queen trying to save her son, and the main bad guy is introduced. All of this is done within the opening with a light amount of gameplay. Then we have a time jump and start to get into the meat of the narrative and gameplay itself. This is all effectively done to inform and teach the player while also grabbing them immediately and not letting them go. Like I said, after starting this, I didn't want to stop playing. Unicorn Overlord is a strategy JRPG where you control your units where the battle parts are more automatic. So from the outset, you will set which units make up one of your groups. A group can be a combination of different classes of fighters. In addition to this, you can also toy around with the formation of your units within each of the groups. Each group has a stamina number, and this is what allows the group to attack. If the number is then depleted, then that group is forced to rest for a bit. This can really leave them vulnerable, and you can also opt to allow for the group to rest at any time. So if you're about to attack a strong garrison and you are low on stamina, it might make sense to wait, gain back some stamina, and then launch the assault. Time always seems to be a factor within battles, so there is some sense of urgency to all of your choices when it comes to the gameplay, meaning you are always looking to fight the most effectively to beat the opposing forces while also keeping an eye on that timer. When you choose to attack, your group will engage in other enemies' group. The winner is the one that can kill the other or end the fight with the highest amount of HP. While in a battle, animations and moves play out automatically, so if your character has good defensive options or healing, they will automatically use them when it is needed, depending on what the enemy is doing. These are always fun to watch and can add to the intensity of the overall conflict. There are some other nice touches like being able to swap in another group if you so choose if they are close by and forced to engage an enemy. This could be a good way to save one group to survive for a later portion of the battle. Even just starting out, I really like the personalization from forming your groups down to the formations, because depending on who you are up against, you might want to take a different formation to win the battle better. For example, some enemies can hit both your front and back row in one hit, but if you stagger your allies, only one will be hit. And I believe you can change formation before each of the fights as well. So if you really want to change a lot before each battle, you can. Options and personalization seems to be high, and fights themselves are very flashy. I have only just played a bit of Unicorn Overlord, but I can tell this might be one of the best games of 2024. This also seems to be a title that might end up being an under-the-radar type of gem. Sure, it's reviewing well, but it isn't being discussed enough within the medium, especially for the high quality that it brings. I do hope that it sells well enough so that these developers can keep making more games, and this is another reminder for me that I need to play more of their catalog as well. Unicorn Overlord makes a strong first impression, and I hope to get back to this one as soon as possible. Have you played Unicorn Overlord? What are some of your other favorites from this developer? Let me know all of this in the comments down below. If you're interested in being notified of new videos, please hit the subscribe button and bell. And if you would like to support the channel and get early access to content, please check out my Patreon. All of the links will be at the end of this video and within the description. And thank you very much for watching.